You know, there's a saying in MAGA circles that you don't hate the media enough. If you hate the media, however much you hate them, you gotta hate them more for the stuff that they pulled, for the stuff that they pull, and it gets worse and worse and worse. They have essentially destroyed themselves because of everything they've done, but it's fascinating to learn even more about how corrupt they are. You know, this whole thing with the 60 Minutes interview just prior to the election, October 6, 2024, a great big sit down with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Remember that guy? What they did there, on top of protecting Joe Biden for how many years was it? 4 years, pretending that this guy was normal, right? They all knew, but they wouldn't share it with their audience. Tells you how valuable Newsmax actually is. We were never, ever, ever afraid, and we documented every misstep and blunder and all of it. But Kamala Harris was running for president of the United States. Nobody voted for her. Remember, in the primary, 0 people voted for her. 14 million people voted for Joe Biden, 0 voted for her, all right? But they tried to pretend everything was normal, and she sits down on 60 Minutes. Now, regular people, anybody who's casually observing this person knows that she's got problems. But 60 Minutes bent over backwards, went way out of their way to create the illusion that she was all there. This interview should have been a knockout blow, right? After this thing aired, with the footage that they actually had in their possession, the race really should have been over Monday morning. It airs on Sunday night. It could have been over on Monday. Now, some of this stuff you've seen before. They put a big chunk of this online, but some of it you haven't. This is because of the lawsuit, and the FCC is investigating whether all of this was election interference. So this is what Kamala Harris normally sounds like on the big pressing issues of our day at the time, and still now, but especially back then, Israel and the conflict with Hamas and what we were going to do about it.
It seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
The work that we have done has brought on movements, that has brought on things that we are trying to accomplish in the region. It makes no sense. But she's a Democrat. It's mainstream media, CBS News, so they can't put this out. So they clean it up. They clean her up, and they deceive the American people. This is what actually aired on television about when the Israel question came up.
It seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Clear, concise, but she didn't say it. She actually didn't say it in the moment. This is crazy. And it gets worse, a lot worse. Here's a moment where she thinks, okay, the camera's off. It's actually not pointing at her. But the guy, Whitaker, who's not bad, it's really the producer and the editor, asked her, okay, so really, how are you going to pay for this stuff? All this pie in the sky stuff. How are you going to pay for it? Tell me. I want to know as a person.
So how are you going to convince a divided Congress that what you say, your plans, are something that they should all agree to and provide to the American people when they've shown no inclination to do that up to this point?
Is that what you needed?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. 30 seconds of silence, please, for John. Cameras are off.
How will you?
It's going to be taxes. It's going to be literally, if the economists, I mean, they're from each spectrum.
But I hear what you're saying about the economists. This is true.
Yeah.
But Congress is not the economists.
I know, but
it's going to be what? It's going to be It's going to be taxes. It's going to literally, The Economist, I mean, they're from each spectrum, I know, but when this thing aired, it should have shocked the system like an interview did all the way back in 1979. Ted Kennedy, the Ted Kennedy, was running for president, and he sat down on 60 Minutes. And they asked him a question that was actually pretty simple. Why do you want to be president? Well, he blew it. It was 2 minutes of gibberish about natural resources. He had no idea why he wanted to be president. I don't think he even wanted to be president. Kamala had a very similar type answer.
Let's shift gears here. Most basic of questions. Why do you want to be president of the United States?
There are many reasons, but probably first and foremost, I truly believe in the promise of America. I do. And I love the American people. You know, we are a people who have ambition and aspirations and dreams and optimism and hope. If you look at the character of who we are and how we have achieved the strength that we have achieved,
All right.
I believe...
That's good for a kindergarten teacher, okay? It makes them ambition, aspiration, dreams, ambition. It's nothing. And just for fun, let's look at what Ted Kennedy said all the way in 1979. This, they didn't edit out. What you just saw there, they didn't put in the final interview. This, they all led with it. And it doesn't sound as bad now, but back then, this was considered disqualifying.
On the stump, Kennedy can be dominating, imposing, and masterful. But off the stump, in personal interviews, he can become stilted, elliptical, and at times appear as if he really doesn't want America to get to know him. Why do you want to be president?
Well, were I to make the announcement and to run, the reasons that I would run is because I have a great belief in this country that there's more natural resources than any nation of the world, has the greatest educated population in the world,
right.
The greatest technology of any
He
country
is
in the world.
basically Abraham Lincoln compared to Kamala Harris. It's fascinating, though. It's actually fascinating, side note, that this guy could even run for president in the first place after Chappaquiddick, hello, and that girl in the car. The media, we don't hate them enough. I like that. I like that a lot. All right. Next, please, a beautiful moment at the White House today.
You ready? We'll do a good job. Wait, let me press that. I want to make this a really good signature because this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
No more men in women and girls sports. It makes so much sense. A president of the United States protecting women and girls. It is the common sense revolution. I like that. That's what we're seeing. And I got to tell you, the Democrats, what were they thinking? Do they have any guilt about pushing that hideous ideology on the whole country who's like, no, we don't want that. Here he is kind of spelling out the whole situation, and he does it very directly and powerfully.
In a few moments, I'll sign a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports. It's about time. Under the Trump administration, we will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women.
What a concept. But in America, for the past 4 years, that was radical. That could get you in trouble at work in most places. You couldn't work with the government if you came out and said, no, I don't like that. Or you put a bumper sticker on your car saying, no, screw that. And we all went through the saga, right? I think Leah Thomas is the first time this really got on my radar. That is a man masquerading as a woman and played on the college female swim team. And if you complained about it, you were in trouble. You were in big trouble. There's Leah. You see, everybody else is a girl. That's a man. And you can just see, not only from the head start, but once in the pool, lapping everybody. It's hideous. It's stupid. It's not even fun. It's not competitive. It's perverted. It's depraved. And it's also dangerous. And look at the victims. Well, they're still soaring. And then she really breaks out. He really breaks out, sorry. Poor Riley Gaines. Everything that she did, she had to watch that man take her trophy and her first place spot. Well, she didn't take it lying down. She fought back. But before she could, she was against the culture. The culture said that Leah was in the right and she was in the wrong, Riley Gaines. This is NBC News. This is the Today Show. Hoda Kotb is the anchor. And everybody's pretending, or maybe they are so sick they really believe it, that the Leah Thomas thing is righteous.
There is so much to watch. So she's going to first hit the pool this morning at 10 o'clock. That's the 500-yard freestyle. The prelims finals are tonight. She's favored to win the 500 and the 200-yard freestyles. She's also swimming in the 100-yard freestyle, and she's got a shot there. But in addition to watching for her winning those races, Hoda, we're also watching for the potential. She is within striking distance of the long-held collegiate records by Missy Franklin and Katie Ledecky. So, of course, we're going to be watching to see if she touches those records during this weekend, too.
Stop saying she, first of all. And this is a monstrosity. Poor Missy, poor Ledecky. That's not right. But the whole culture was going crazy. The media, and of course, getting their protection and marching orders from the very, very top. This guy, totally out of his job description. Where in the Constitution does it say the President of the United States should even be thinking about little girls and what locker room they use and boys and all of this stuff? Just stay the hell out of it. But he went there on our time. This is company time.
For all transgender Americans watching at home, especially young people, you're so brave. I want you to know your president has your back. To everyone celebrating Transgender Day of Visibility, I want you to know that your president sees you. And know this, you're so brave. You belong. And we have your back. Transgender kids are some of the bravest people in the world. I mean it sincerely. I said last year, especially to our younger transgender Americans, I'll always have your back as your president so you can be yourself and reach your God-given potential.
Just gross. And the Transgender Day of Visibility, yeah, that was actually Easter, right? Easter Sunday. It seems like kind of a bad dream. He's talking about brave transgender kids. The brave people here are those who stood up against it, like Riley. She wouldn't take it, and she spoke out, and she took a lot of heat for it.
I've actually had a ton of Thomas's teammates reach out to me and just thank me for what I'm doing, because they're unable. They're threatened. They're told they will lose their scholarship, which is I don't think that's even legal, and they're having their freedom of speech completely infringed upon.
Can you believe it that she was made to feel the victim, but she wouldn't let up? And how was she treated by our culture, by our warped society at the time? Like a pariah.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.